Hey babes, today we are diving into what I think is one of the most underrated tools when it comes to fibroids and to your hormones, and that is walking. I think walking should be a part of everyone's wellness routine, whether you have fibroids or not, whether you've had surgery or you're trying to shrink and eliminate them naturally. So stay tuned for that. But if you are new around here, I'm Shantae. It has been a little while since I have done a video because life has been crazy. So if you're on my email list, you already know all about that. If you're not, make sure you sign up. But like I said, I'm Shantae and I am a fibroid survivor. I started out with about a 10 or 11 centimeter fibroid. And so actually I had several, but the largest one was that size. And now it is about half that size. And so I've been able to eliminate my symptoms. I've been able to shrink fibroids. And so I just want to continue to share my journey with that and share some things that have really worked for me, especially this month because it is Fibroid Awareness Month. So probably a lot of my videos this month will specifically be about fibroids. But if you're watching and you don't have fibroids, still watch because you can learn a lot about how to prevent them as well as what to look for if you might think that maybe you have some of the classic symptoms. One of the things I discuss a lot when it comes to fibroid elimination and fibroid symptom management is movement, or AKA exercise. While I do think it's important to have set aside time that you have intentional movement, I really just want to encourage people to move as much as you can throughout the day. And one of the easiest ways to do that is walking or getting your steps in. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I'm a 10K step girly. Actually, right now, I'm a 12K step girly because I've been up in those steps. But the reason for this is because walking has so many benefits. I actually am going to go out on a limb here and say that I feel like walking is almost one of the more superior forms of movement for people that have fibroids specifically. Now, that is just my opinion. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. But that is just my opinion based on my experience, is that I have noticed so many benefits just from walking specifically that I don't think that I've gotten with other forms of exercise. Mind you, I've done probably every type of workout or exercise, but to me, walking is just, it's superior. And I'm going to get more into why that is. Now, I do have an ebook where I go into my habits for fibroid management, and I give you several areas that you should be working on if you are trying to shrink fibroids naturally and stop fibroid symptoms. And I will link that ebook below. So I go more into detail in that book, just generally about movement and what it can do for you, but I specifically wanted to focus on walking in this video because of all its benefits. One of the reasons why I would suggest that you should start a walking routine or make walking a habit or getting more steps in a habit is because specifically for uterine health, walking is going to give you some of the most benefits. And that's because, think about it, when you are walking, you're increasing your circulation overall, but especially to your pelvic region, where, of course, if you have fibroids, you likely have inflammation there, you have stagnation. So one of the best things that you can do is increase circulation overall, but increase circulation to that area. Now, one of the other benefits of walking is a reduction in inflammation. So when you're able to reduce that inflammation, what's going to happen is you'll likely have less period pain, less pain from fibroids, and you'll just feel better overall because you're not dealing with that inflammation. Now, one of the biggest symptoms for having fibroids is the bloating. And I found that walking really helps with that a lot. And again, this is likely because of the increase in circulation, the reduction in inflammation, and also walking can be really good for your digestion. Now, I feel like there are so many benefits here, and all of them kind of tie in together. Another big benefit that I find to walking is the stress reduction. Now, I will say that yes, shorter walks are helpful, but I find the most stress reduction when I do walks that are 30 minutes or longer. And I think it's just because at some point, if you start a regular walking routine, you'll notice that during your walks, you start to think a lot. So you're able to think things through, you're able to notice patterns in your thoughts, and also you just eventually start to get, I don't know if it's a high, I guess it is a high because you have this endorphin release. And so you start to feel a lot better just in your body after that 30 minutes. And so that's going to be also good for helping with that inflammation and even improving your digestion because now you have less stress. Your cortisol levels will likely go down because of this. So walking is top notch for stress reduction in my opinion. Another reason I recommend starting with walking, especially if you're sedentary and maybe you don't really exercise at all, or maybe you just sit a lot, or maybe you've been exercising for a while, but you are not really getting what you need from the other types of exercises that you're doing. I recommend starting a walking routine because it is easy and simple. Well, maybe not easy for some people under certain circumstances, but for most people, starting a walking routine is going to be simple and it's free. I consider cleaning walking. So you're going to be getting steps in when you're cleaning your home, if you have a pet, if you have a dog, you're going out to walk your dog, so you're getting a walk in there. Maybe you're playing with your children, so you're getting some movement in there. It doesn't have to be complex. Getting maybe a 15-minute walk in the morning, one in the midday, and one at night, or maybe just doing one long walk. Whatever you choose is going to be helpful for you because walking is free. It doesn't really cost you anything. Sure, you might need to invest in a walking pad, which usually those are pretty inexpensive. You can find really inexpensive ones, but maybe you want to get a walking pad just because you have to be inside for some reason, maybe for work, or maybe you want to invest in an inexpensive gym membership. But really and truly, walking is free. You don't have to spend any money to do it. It's an easy entry point for people who maybe aren't experienced at working out, and most people can do it. It doesn't require any special skill. It doesn't require tons of strength, tons of flexibility. Those things will actually increase as you start your walking journey. Before I go, I want to leave you with some simple tips to get started on your walking journey. And my biggest tip, and it's something that I say a lot, is to start small. If this is new to you, especially if you aren't working out at all right now, start with a 15-minute walk. I highly recommend starting at 15 minutes because I think that is where you will, if you are inexperienced, you will see benefits even from just the 15 minutes. But start with the 15-minute walk. The other thing that I recommend is I know I said walking is free, but I want you to get a inexpensive tracker. What is it? A pedometer. Actually, I literally have a pedometer in my pocket right now. I keep it on me all day. I think I paid like, I don't know, maybe 20 bucks for one of these little things. And it's just a super simple way. You can stick it in your pocket, put it in your purse, but I keep it on me all day. Like, even if I wake up in the morning and I put on my robe, I will put it in my robe pocket because every step counts for me. But get that so that you can have a nice gauge on how much you are moving throughout the day. Now, the first week that you start walking, I highly recommend not necessarily having a goal aside from intentionally walking for 15 minutes. But really what you want to do is see how much you're actually moving so that you'll know, okay, if I'm only walking 3,000 steps most days, maybe for next week I should set my goal to 4,000. Then maybe the next week I can go up, or the next month I can go up. But that's just going to help give you an idea of what you're already doing and help you track your progress. Because I'm a person that believes in tracking progress and in tracking things. Another tip that I have for walking is if you are like me and you live in a very hot place or even a very cold place. But if you live in a very hot place, I suggest you get out and walk super early in the morning. I'm in Texas. It's just hot for no reason all the time right now for like most of the year. So I tend to get out really early and go for a walk. Sometimes I'll do the evening too. But I like to get as many of my steps in, at least half of my step goal for the day. I get it in first thing in the morning. So that way the rest of the day is kind of easy when it comes to getting in my steps. Now, mind you, I try to do around 12,000 steps every day. So you probably won't be starting that high when you're just starting out. I think a really good goal for most people just starting out is probably 6,000. If you are completely sedentary, it's starting at 6,000 and every month increasing your steps by 1,000. And my final tip, and this is really just kind of a bonus tip, it's totally optional, but I do recommend doing it, is doing some lymphatic work before you walk. Again, something that doesn't really cost much or anything at all. You can use your hands to do some lymphatic massage on yourself. There are tons of great videos by like lymphatic massage professionals here on YouTube. So you can search some of those, find you a routine you can do with your hands, or you can do a dry brush routine. But I actually like to do that before I go for my walk in the morning, because you really want to get that lymph, basically kind of wake it up or move it around a little bit. And then when you walk, if again, I live in a hot place, so I'm gonna sweat when I walk, so I'm able to move and sweat and, get some of that, let some of that lymph drain after I've moved it around. So that's just a really good tip. It's gonna help you with the bloating and the puffiness, and then you get a low impact workout in right after. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just be sure to like this video, subscribe, and even share it with someone who is on a natural fibroid elimination journey, or maybe they've actually had a surgery already and maybe they're considering another one, or they want to prevent fibroids from coming back. This is a good place for them to start, something simple that they can do to help them on their journey.